On Friday, August 4th, 2016, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. Usually at that time, I'm dead to the world, like most normal people. But on this day, my eyes popped open before my alarm even went off. I had been planning something for weeks, and it was finally the day. So I snuck out of bed. I left my husband asleep. I snuck past our two kids' rooms because they're toddlers, and you don't want to wake a toddler up. And I grabbed a bag that I had carefully packed the night before, and I snuck out of our house. We'll get to what was in the bag in a little bit, but first, why so early and why so sneaky? Well, early and sneaky because I was actually headed right here to downtown Modesto, and I needed to be under the cover of dark because I was doing something I had not asked permission to do. I was going to paint the sidewalks. So before you start thinking I'm an actual vandal, rest assured the paint is made out of chalk and it washes away in the rain. And I wasn't going to tag the pavement or create any unsavory art. I was actually coming here with a goal that was quite the opposite. I was coming here to downtown Modesto to create what I call our downtown love notes. But let me back up a little bit. So I'm a Modesto native. Like Fletch said, I moved away for a few years to New York and then to LA, and like a lot of Modestans, found my way back here just in time to start a family. So now I happily live here with my husband and our two kids. By trade, I'm a blogger. You could also call me a content creator. What I do is I try to create beautiful and vibrant content for people to find on my blog or on my Instagram feed for no other reason than to just make the world a more colorful and inspiring place. My blog is called Lovely Indeed, thusly named because isn't the world a lovely place? Lovely indeed. I do a lot of making on my blog. I make do-it-yourself projects, I make cocktails, I make recipes. I try to make people feel inspired to do the same. I try to make people see the loveliness in the world. So, upon moving back to my hometown after having lived in New York and then LA, I found that I had this one question that was kind of popping into my head over and over again. And I think it's a question that a lot of locals face, either knowingly or unknowingly. And the question is, will this place be enough for me? And as I noticed this question popping into my head, I realized that every time it would, the same answer would replace it almost immediately. And the answer that would come every time is a place is what you make it. So, that kind of set me on a path. Now, I did not know right away that I would end up painting sidewalks, because that's kind of weird. But what I did know was that I needed to invest in this place. I needed to invest in the place where my family and I live. I needed to make it what I wanted it to be. And I needed to use the things that I had to do that. Now, I don't have unlimited time. I don't think anybody does. I don't have piles of cash to throw around. But some of the things that I do have are mountains of creative ideas and my own unique perspective on the world and a fierce love for my hometown. And those kind of things, those are the things that matter when you're trying to invest in the place where you are, the things that drive you and that are effortless for you, and the things that come from your heart, because those are the things that will be sustainable for you and will motivate other people and will create change and inspire. So I started thinking, what could I do? How could I contribute here? How could I use my specific skills or resources to invest in this community? And most importantly, what do the people here even need? I decided that one of my answers to that last question is that there's a portion of the population in Modesto who maybe just needs to be jolted awake, to open their eyes and see what this place has to offer, to look up or look down and see the loveliness that's already there. They need a reminder to walk around and take notice. They need to know someone cares. A hug, a high five, a love note. Love notes. So that's how the idea was born. I boiled it down to very simple terms, and I just decided to create short, encouraging phrases and hide them in the downtown Modesto area. And the idea was that if people knew the love notes were out there, maybe they would go looking for them, just out of curiosity. And the hope was that as word spread and more people knew that we were leaving the love notes, more people would go and look for them. But beyond all that, the ultimate goal of the love notes is that as people are out looking for them, they might perhaps open their eyes a little bit and see Modesto in a new way, and that they then would be investing in the community just by virtue of doing something new and different. So my husband was helping me brainstorm, how are we going to make these love notes happen? We didn't know what they were yet, but we came up with some parameters. First of all, they had to be practically free, because we were just going to pay for them out of pocket. They had to be permission-free, because we didn't want to ask anybody if we could do it. We just wanted to do it. And they needed to be temporary, because we really wanted to create a sense of urgency for people to get out right away in the community and try something different. And finally, they had to do 0 damage to the town or to the place where we left the love notes. So the first thing that we tried, obviously, balloons. Because don't you always start with balloons? I don't know. So we got dozens and dozens of these gold alphabet balloons, and we strung them up in downtown Modesto on Valentine's Day, 2016. And that's my husband, buried in a pile of balloons, like you do. And this first round, I can just vividly remember running around, hanging them up downtown Modesto. That's the Chartreuse Muse. And after we hung them up, we went to Teacups Cafe on 10th Street. We sat down and got our boba tea. And I got my phone out and posted on Instagram. The love notes are up. Here's what they are. Go find them. Share them with the hashtag #LovelyIndeedLovesModesto. And because it was Valentine's Day, this first round said things like, hey, good looking, XOXO, just lighthearted stuff. So I waited all day, bated breath, watching, waiting, watching, and at the end of the day, I think 5 people had shared them. Wah, wah. And we went back the next day to clean them up, and half of them were gone, and of course they were, because duh. And the other half were rapidly deflating. So all in all, like, not the triumphant start that I had wanted to this whole thing, but we learned. Love notes round 2, next idea, stickers. We designed and cut our love notes into this vinyl sticker paper that you could stick down on the ground easily and theoretically pull it back up easily. And, we placed them all around downtown, and this time we decided to place them outside of some of our favorite businesses, hoping to get some foot traffic, and then hoping to encourage people to go into the business and try that business and do something new. And we shared them same way with the same hashtag, #LovelyIndeedLovesModesto, and a few more people found them, but not too many, and we also realized that although theoretically they should have been easy to pull up, in reality they weren't. So disaster number 2, and we learned again. Idea number 3, round 3, and here's where we finally get to talk about what was in the bag that morning that I left my house with at 4:15, and so many other mornings. Here we go, gang. Stencils, and chalk paint, and paintbrushes. So, the night before, I had designed and cut our love notes into vinyl stencil paper with a really light adhesive backing. And when the sun was up, before the sun was up actually, that next day, I took our stencils and I took the paint chalk, and took the paintbrushes downtown, and I laid our first stencil on the ground right outside of Preservation Coffee on J Street. Hey! Hey, Preservation! And I smoothed down the edges, and I kid you not, I looked around for police cars driving by, because can you just picture, like, in the dark, huddled on the ground, a 30-something-year-old woman with a paintbrush, and, like, it's 4:30 in the morning. So, and I'm a rule follower, don't get me wrong. I wasn't trying to get arrested for spreading love. So no one was coming. I saw that no one was coming, and got out my stencils and my paint, and I kind of went for it. Almost there. So, this is the part where we all cross our fingers. Are you crossing? Thank you. That yellow color up there, by the way. Oh, thank you. Wait till you see the rest. This yellow color up here, the exact color of the front door in my house. My dad thought I was crazy. Hey, Dad. And I was like, Dad, live a little. So we did it. And that morning at 4:15, when I pulled the stencils away, I kind of knew that we had figured it out a little bit. Thank you. We also got a lot smarter, and we made our love notes coincide with another downtown event, First Friday. Who's been to First Friday? So we did that in obviously an effort to catch the people that were already out and further engage them in the community just in a new and different way. And it was happening. This round of love notes had 5 messages: be happy, be kind, be rad, Beyonce, and be you. And thank you. And it was working. It was finally working. People were seeing them. People were asking me where to find them. People were seeing them and going into a business to inquire what they were. People were inspired by them. And even if it was on our kind of relatively small scale, it was starting to accomplish our goal of investing here and encouraging other people to invest here in just a different way, a new way. After having started these love notes, I've shared them a few times on my blog, on Lovely Indeed, and I've started receiving emails from all over the country from people who like the love note idea and have started replicating it in their hometowns. So now people are seeing it and taking their time and their skills and their strength and their passions and putting that into their communities. And nothing could make me happier than being a source of inspiration for loving the place where you are. We've done this version of the love notes a few more times since this first iteration, and the response to it just brings me back to my first thought every time. A place is what you make it. When I look at Modesto, I see engaged people, I see forward motion, I see so much possibility. What do you see when you look at our town? What do you think we need? And what do you have, or what can you do to make it into the place you want it to be? Those are the real questions, the ones that challenge you to truly evaluate your skills or your resources or your passions to create your desired environment. Imagine if everyone acted on the instinct to invest in our community. Imagine a town where everyone's using their own strengths to make it a better place. And imagine if we, like you and me in this room, were the ones who led by example. What would you do? What change would you want to make? And what could be the first tiny step that you could go home and take tomorrow towards that change? For us, it was simple. We wanted to connect. We wanted to give something loving and lighthearted to the community. We wanted to encourage people to engage in our town. And more than anything, we wanted to invest here ourselves. And so we did it in the best way we know how, by making it with joy and with color and with love. Thank you.